Troy from Ace Appliance in Toledo, Ohio. Welcome back to another in-home diagnostic video brought to you by ApplianceVideo.com. Today what we're looking at is a Maytag Bravos top load washing machine. I had replaced the pump on the unit for the customer, and what we're looking at now is there is basically a noise that sounds like the pump is clogged. So if I turn the power on and I put it to spin only, when I push start you'll hear the pump make kind of a humming noise. If you can pick it up on the mic, then you'll hear it. But what it sounds like is there's something blocking it. I also do not hear water coming out the standpipe once I have it going. So I'm going to show you that. Here the pump's on, but no water out of my standpipe. So we're going to pause. I want to turn the unit off, but it won't let me because when you power down this unit, it senses that the basket is floating. So it's trying to do a cancel drain. It's trying to drain the water out. So we're going to stop it by unplugging the unit. With the unit unplugged, what we're going to do now is we're going to access the inside of the unit. If you've got clothes inside the basket, which you probably do if they're wet or you've already removed them, either way the clothes have to come out. Depending on how dirty the water is, you may or may not be able to see the pump with the water in the unit. My water is fairly clean and I know where the pump is at, so I'm gonna leave the water in there. If not, you're gonna need your shop vac, or if you have access to a drain on your floor right by your washing machine, if you remove your standpipe, the pipe going into your standpipe, and lay it on the floor, that should allow it to siphon out most of the water into your drain on your floor. But I don't have access to that right now, so what I'm gonna do is with my putty knife, use my putty knife, and under the top face of the unit there are clips that you're going to push in with your putty knife on both sides. So what we have is the unit is down where my clip is. Push my clip in, lift up on the unit to open one side, do the same on the opposite side, and pop it in, and then I can lift my unit up and it pops up. This particular unit is a spring-loaded top, so if I was to just flip it up and over, it may or may not stay open. And I have pulled out far into where it is. I'm going to pull a little bit further out just to be safe. See how that comes flying back at me because it is spring-loaded. And if it comes flying out too far, you can break your lid. So what I'm going to recommend you do, like what I'm going to do, pull your lid back closed. Take some electrical tape or some sort of tape and tape the lid of the unit to the top of the unit. It's not to hold it forever, but it's just to hold it there enough while I have the top flipped up. So now I can flip it back up and I feel a little more secure that it is going to stay on there. So now what we have to do is we have to get inside the basket. So there's a couple things you have to do. There's a top ring which you need to remove, which has little clip tabs on the sides. Then you pop free. You got it free. The whole top is going to come off, except we do have a hose connected back here. That's for your recirculating pump, so the water can be pumped back up to the top of the unit. It is just a simple clamp. You may be able to remove by hand. If not, just use a pair of pliers. Move the clamp back down out of the way. Once it's back down out of the way, you can push the hose off. It doesn't just push off, you can pop the unit up. Give yourself a little more leverage. Remove your top. Once your top is removed, you can see your outer basket, or your outer tub and your inner basket. It moves pretty freely, so I need to see if maybe there's a coin or something down inside the pump blocking it. So now what we're going to do is inside the unit, we're going to remove the little center cap on your agitator in the bottom. Going to need a flat blade screwdriver for that. So what we're going to do now is we can see the center cap. On one side of the center cap where one of the three prongs come off, there's going to be a spot to be able to put a screwdriver. Put it in there. It pries right up and out of the way for you. Once you have that up and out of the way, you'll notice that there is a, I believe it's a 7/16 nut in there. we need to remove, because that is what holds the agitator down into place. That is screwed into place, but your basket essentially floats inside this outer basket. So we need to remove the center agitator so we can get the basket to come out. It is just a standard direction, so lefty loosey, righty tighty. And believe me, sometimes they do not come off. They're on there tight. So using your ratchet, you're going to loosen the screw or the bolt. It may take a couple extra hands to do so. We've broken it loose, so now we're just going to remove it out of the way. It'll loosen all the way up until you can lift it out. Once you have it up, you can remove that. Now this fan comes out, but you notice it doesn't always just come right out. You could use a home remedy if you have wire hangers. Take 2 wire hangers and put them inside the holes and cross from each other on that to help you lift it up. It comes up a lot easier when you use these. Okay, so now with that up and out of the way, you may be able to vaguely or partially see the agitator shaft or the transmission shaft coming up into the unit, and the basket is just floating in there. So now what I've got to do is remove it. In theory, it should just lift straight up and out, but being that it's probably been on there for a while, it's going to be a little stuck into place. I'm going to give it a couple pushes just to loosen up on that shaft. Okay, so now that the bolt's been removed, pulling the inner basket or inner basket out of the outer tub, it may require more than one person. It's not that sometimes it comes out easy, sometimes it does not. Once you get it free, it'll lift all the way out, and you lift it out, just let it drain for a second, make sure all the water's out of it. Once you get as much of the water out of it as you can, you're going to want to position it someplace else in your house. Okay, so in the back of this unit, I'm sure you can see the water in here. I've not drained it, but I know where the pump is at. So back in this area right here, there's going to be a cover, and if you use your hands to feel, you'll be able to feel 2 1/4-inch screws, one on each side. You need to do it this way and blindly go through without the water in there, or with the water in there, or what you may want to do is go ahead and get a shop vac and siphon the water out, or get as much of it out of it as you can. But I'm going to move forward this way. I'm going to remove the screws. So watch how far down your drill goes in if you're using a power drill, so you don't short your drill out. Once you have the cover, 2 screws out of the cover, you can pull the cover out. You can see approximately, here's where one goes and the other one goes. It sets in there right about like that. So once you remove those screws, what I'm going to do is I'm going to feel the different spots on here, so if I can feel anything obstructing the holes, which what I have found in the past, and I found this time, is a 1/4. That is approximately the size of the hole, the size of the 1/4. If it gets down in there somehow, it gets caught right on top of the hole and gets sucked into place and does not let enough water come out. So the pump is just going to run and run and run until you get a SL or slow drain or no drain or some sort of error code out of your unit. So to move on with this out of the way, I'm going to continue feeling, make sure I don't feel anything else in here. And under this pump there are 2 ports. One goes to your drain pump, the other goes to your recirculating pump. So since I've got that out now, what I'm going to do, dry off, It's always easier to reassemble without the water in there. What I can do is set the lid back down, plug the unit back in. I'm going to turn power on. I'm going to do spin only because I basically want it to drain. I don't want any more water going in. I'm going to push start, see if I have a different sound. And we have drainage of the water now. You can't see inside the lid because it's closed, but if you look, and I flip it open right now, slowly but surely that water is going to drain down and get out of the unit. And we're going to look and see if we have any other particles or debris down inside the bottom of this tub that could clog us up again. So what we had is once I removed the cover that was in place like I had explained, and we got the water to drain out after removing the quarter. That quarter was caught right here in this hole right here. That's your drain port. Goes down to your drain pump and pumps it right out down to your standpipe. This smaller one right here is for your recirculator. It's going to come over here. You'll see dimes and nickels, things like that caught up over there. You also see bras, underwire, underwear, children's socks, all get caught down inside this pump. Some of them make it inside. Some of them cover up the holes that allows the water to come in. And if that happens, then it's not going to drain properly. So now what we're going to do is reverse order, put back together. We're going to start with putting our cover back on. It has the 2 spots. It only fits on there one way. Once you get it back on where it's supposed to go, you're going to reattach your screws. And they are 1/4 inch nut drivers again. And then once you have them reattached, those are back in place. From there, what you're now going to do is put your basket back in place. So when you're getting ready to put your basket back into your outer tub, you'll notice right in here, this piece right here moves, and it's designed to do that. But what you're going to see is that there are grooves inside here. Those grooves correspond with the actual drive shaft coming up into the unit. You need to make sure that this basket sets all the way back down, and when you do that, you know your basket's in place. Once you have it all the way down, you're going to want to put it back together the rest of the way, and then run a test rinse and spin cycle. So now I'm going to move this back up and set it back into place inside the unit. So once I've got it set back in place, I'm just going to position it to where it fits on the spline. And it may not slide all the way down at first. When you first put it in there first couple times, you got to work with it. Once it sets all the way down in, it'll spin freely. Your teeth are primarily going to be all the way exposed, and that white middle piece that I had showed you that had the teeth in it is going to be flush with the top of the rest of the inner basket. So once that's in place, we're going to now attach our agitator. So with your agitator in hand, it's going to set in there. It also has teeth in here for it to go into the spline. That'll set all the way back down on there. Once it's back down in place, reattach your nut as well as your cap. When you are tightening down your nut inside on the agitator, it doesn't have to be super snug. It does have to be snug. You don't have to over tighten it though. It does have a rubber boot, so once you get it tightened down to where it stops, that should suffice. Your cap again, just make sure it only fits on there. It's key to go on one way. Get that back in place. Now the inside's done. Now you have to put the top ring back on. Quick note, do not forget your recirculating line. If it happens and you run a load, it's going to recirculate water just onto the floor of your house. So first thing you do is get it about in position. Take your recirculating line, get it back into place. Put your clamp back on. Once you've got that back in place, this cover, it has spots where there's tabs on the outer basket that go into it. This lip outside ring right here goes on the outside of the outer basket. So make sure you have that in the right position all the way around. Once that's back all the way around, All we're left to do now is to close the unit again. We're going to tip our top back down, set it in place, remove our tape. Once our tape is removed, it should set approximately where it goes. If you just give it a couple good little pushes down, it'll seal back into place. So I'm going to actually cancel this out, and I'm going to start a new one. So I'm going to rinse and spin because I want it to start filling with water. As it fills with water, I'm going to position the unit back where it goes and let it do this for a couple minutes till it gets water in it. I'm going to make sure it still drains at that point. So right now I've got it filling again. You can see the water spraying in potentially. That's because the recirculating pump is pumping water from the bottom of the unit back up on top of the clothes. If you're washing clothes in here right now, what it did is it filled for a couple to get water in the bottom. So if you added your bleach or anything like that into the cycle, it was diluting your bleach water. And now it's recycling it back up on top to mix it with your clothes. It will fill longer depending on how much you have in the unit. It does kind of weight sense itself on when it starts to float. But right now, since it's been filling with water, all I'm going to do is I'm going to stop it. When I push cancel, it pauses, lid lock comes open. If I push cancel again, it's going to cancel drain out, and that's what I want to see if the water is going to pump out again. And water is draining out the back of the unit. We're going to let that run that, and that concludes our repair for today. Thank you for watching another quality video brought to you by ApplianceVideo.com.